Hey guys, it's Rob here and welcome back to another video. So in this video we are going to talk about the latest Nintendo Switch news. This includes stuff that's happening with the Nintendo Direct, some of the games that's announced, some things that I like, some things I don't like, and overall just my thoughts on the Nintendo Direct. There are some things about the Nintendo Direct that are coming out now, especially when it comes to game keycards that we know now. That is very unfortunate. As someone who doesn't like game keycards, a lot of these games that I really did want to play on the Nintendo Switch 2 are game keycards. Even games that would fit on a 64GB card for the Nintendo Switch, they ended up using game keycards, which in my opinion is kind of dumb. Why don't you just put it on the card? I did come across some posts that do explain some things about the game keycard, so we're going to talk a little bit on that as well. If you guys end up enjoying this video, make sure you guys leave a like. It helps the video get pushed when you do that, which means I can bring more videos to you guys. And of course, leave a like if you do enjoy the video. So the Nintendo Direct has finally passed. Nintendo ended up doing it at the end of the month, which was July 31st, and there were some games that I really did like seeing in this, especially Monster Hunter Stories. Back on the Nintendo Switch 2, Monster Hunter Stories was my first introduction into the series of that spinoff of Monster Hunter, and I really enjoyed my time in Monster Hunter Story 2, and with the Nintendo Switch 2, we do get an upgrade for performance on that on the Nintendo Switch 2, which is really fantastic, so I was really hoping that they were going to make a third game. I just didn't expect it to be at this Nintendo Direct. Now, considering that it's called Twisted Reflection, and at the end of the trailer they said there were two dragons within that egg, I'm guessing there's probably going to be like a good dragon and then there's going to be a bad dragon, and it's kind of going to be two sides of the same coin. Just an early prediction on my part. Now, we don't know the release date for this game. They said we're going to get more information later this year, so I'm pretty excited for that. So that's one of the games that I really enjoyed seeing. Now, the next game that they showed is Once Upon a Katamari. Now, this is a series that I've just never played and never really got into myself, and that's because I just never played it. So let me know in the comment section below if this is worth playing, if this series is interesting, if it's fun, because I have no idea what this game is. The game looks really weird and wacky and strange, so I don't really know what you even do with this game. So if anyone can explain it down in the comment section below, if it's worth playing, if this game looks good as the past games for people who have played the past games, let me know and I will definitely check it out and maybe even do a review. As far as a release date for Once Upon a Katamari, that's going to be on October 24th, so that's actually pretty soon. It's a couple months away. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero was also revealed for the Nintendo Switch with the release date, and that's going to be on November 14th, 2024. I'm a huge anime fan, but I've never really gotten into Dragon Ball Z, at least not now. As a kid, I did enjoy Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, surprisingly GT. I know a lot of people don't like GT, but that's the most memories I have when watching Dragon Ball Z. I haven't really kept up with the series since then, but the game itself, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, is coming out on November 14th, 2024. Another one that I saw a lot of people mentioning down in the comment section below of that Nintendo Direct rumor video is that people wanted to see Plants vs. Zombies. Now, we did get this at this Nintendo Direct. We got Plants vs. Zombies Replanted, and that's going to be available on October 23rd, 2025. I definitely want to try this out as someone who has never played the Plants vs. Zombies, not the ones where they switched over to 3D and not even the ones on the phones. I kind of skipped over those, so as someone who's never played them, I am pretty interested. I do like games like that, like Defense Tower games, so I'm pretty excited to try that out. We also got other games like Final Fantasy Tactics, we got Persona Reload, we got new games at the end of the Nintendo Direct, Octopath Traveler 0, and of course we got the new demo for the new Square Enix game, The Adventures of Elliot the Millennium Tales, which very much looks like a Legend of Zelda inspired type game, but mixed with some Final Fantasy elements, which I think is going to be really cool. The combat actually looks really cool as well. That's going to be available in 2026. They're going to be taking feedback on the demo that was released today, so that's pretty exciting. And overall, the Nintendo Direct, I would say if you're an RPG fan, you might have liked the Nintendo Direct. Now, I say you might have liked the Nintendo Direct because there are some people who don't like game keycards, and a lot of these games are game keycards. For one, Borderlands 4 is apparently 40GB. So physical releases plays physical releases is the Twitter account, says the game is 40 gigabytes. 40 gigabytes. The guys at 2K put the game on a game key card. The main question is, what the hell is the 64 gigabyte card for, or cart for? I'm starting to miss the Switch tax. And yeah, this is one of those things where it's like, well, it can fit on the card, so why the heck do we have it on a game key card? And that's just one of those things where I don't like it. I was gonna buy Borderlands 4 on the Nintendo Switch 2, and now that's game key card, I'm probably gonna rent it from GameFly and then return it when I'm done with it. Another game, or games I should say, is that Persona 3 Reload on the Nintendo Switch 2 is also a game key card. The new Pac-Man game, that's a game key card. And the Pac-Man one is really weird because apparently Wario64 over on Twitter said that it's 6.4 gigabytes. Why is this a game key card? There's no reason why this is a game key card unless this affects the price maybe. And if that's the case, if it wasn't a game key card, would they actually charge more? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you wanted it on the actual game cartridge, would you be willing to pay more? I'm really curious on what you guys think about that. But there's another game that's a game key card too. Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero on the Nintendo Switch 2 is a game key card, as well as Octopath Traveler 0. Now, Daniel Ahmad over on Twitter said this about game key cards. Game key cards are significantly more expensive than discs, increases with each gigabyte. It takes time to ramp up production of multiple storage capacity game cards. Digital games / lower capacity cards offer higher margins for publishers. Digital is the majority of sales. So here is something that I do find interesting. If they were to put it on the card, would it actually cost more because they have to recoup more costs when it comes to the price of putting these on the actual card? And that's why I asked you guys, would you be willing to pay more if they were to put it on the actual game key card? And for me personally, if I were to be asked that question, personally, I would pay $5 to $10 more to have it physical, because when the Nintendo Switch 2 eShop shuts down, we're not going to have access to these cards. They're just going to be useless pieces of plastic. And I do plan on keeping all my games. Once the Nintendo Switch 3 or whatever the next console comes out, I'm going to still have my Nintendo Switch, and 10, 20 years down the line, I'm still gonna keep my Nintendo Switch. I still have my PS4. I still have my PS3. I have my DS Lite. I don't have my 3DS because I sold that, unfortunately, but I do want to get another 3DS. And the fact that they closed down the eShop and some of the things that you can't get on the eShop anymore are gone for the most part. There are other ways of doing it, but I'm not gonna promote that here. But it sucks that some of those things aren't accessible anymore. And even like older games, some of them cost a lot of money to actually play and buy, because collecting classic games is really expensive at a time when things are already expensive, right? So it kind of just sucks that this whole game key card situation is going on. Personally, if I were to pay $5, $10 more, I would 100% pay that for physical on the actual card, and the game is actually on the card and I don't lose access. Now, another thing I do wonder is how far reaching is this problem that people have with game key cards? Is the general public even noticeable or even notice this? You guys know what I mean? Like, do the general public actually even care about this? Because as far as us on like YouTube and Twitter, people who are watching this video, we are very much not the majority of the people out there. A lot of people who don't even go on Twitter or don't even watch these YouTube videos and just kind of play it casually or just buy it for their kids or their sons, daughters, all that kind of stuff, they probably don't even know anything about this. I do wonder if they look at the case or if they were told that it's not actually on the card by like someone at the store, would they even care? Like, if you guys know someone who doesn't consume this, go and ask them if they care about that, and then report back on this video and tell me what they said, because I am genuinely curious, because I've seen people on Twitter talk about how the general public doesn't really care, and I'm really curious on if that's actually true, or are people just saying that, you know what I mean? Or maybe you are part of the general public and you just happen to find this video. I'm really curious. Let me know about that down in the comment section below. Because for me, as someone who I would not call like your average gamer, like I animate a lot, so I don't game as much as I like, but I do game probably more than the average person. I wouldn't say I'm the average consumer for these products. So when I express my opinions on game key cards, I might not be the person who is a good example across the board for a lot of the other players. But yeah, I just don't like game key cards. I like owning my stuff. So that's just my personal opinion on it. I'm sure people will probably drop dislikes and probably share their negative opinions on my opinion on this. I mean, it's an opinion. If you have the opposite opinion, I don't really care. If you know, say I don't mind game key cards, it's like, okay, I do mind game key cards. You know what I mean? I know some people tend to get like a little antsy when you don't have the same opinion as them, but as far as that concerns for me, if you don't have the same opinion, it's like, well, we disagree, and that's just the end of that, right? I'm always willing to change my mind too if people can show me, oh, this is why, you know, game key cards are good. Like, there are some positives for game key cards, like we're getting more games on the Switch too. That's the obvious positive. Other than that, I don't really see any other positives. It does make me wonder, like, does this fall on the developer's part, or is this Nintendo's fault, or is it both of them, or is it just them being greedy? Like, who is the source of this, you know? Because jumping back to that Daniel Ahmad tweet, he says, as a reminder, game key cards are the majority of releases initially when you build a console that relies on micro SD express tech. Either you use a 64GB card and price your game $60 to make it, or I should say, or $60 just to make a similar type of margin you would on PS5, or use a game key card plus lower pricer, or price lower, I mean. And to that I say, I don't think this is gonna be an initial thing. I think this is just what they're gonna do, because why the heck would they even do that? If it is less expensive to put these games on the Nintendo Switch 2, I can totally see the company seeing that as a way to make more money later down the line. I don't think they're gonna be putting the whole game on the cartridge across the board, or even the majority of developers. I think, if anything, more developers are going to do this more because it's cheaper and it makes them more money, which I absolutely hate, by the way. I'm not saying I want this. Quite the opposite, actually. But yeah, those are just my thoughts on the Nintendo Direct. Some of the games that I found interesting, I just want to mention some of the release dates, and also I am really fried right now. My brain is not working the most. You could tell in this video. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the Nintendo Direct. If I were to grade it, I think it was a pretty poor Nintendo Direct, even though there were a lot of games that I personally liked. As far as a Nintendo Direct to give a lot of people things to play, it was the majority of the games that were like JRPGs and stuff, and not everyone likes JRPGs. So if you don't like RPGs and JRPGs and those kind of games, like role-playing games, you probably thought this Nintendo Direct was pretty poor, right? But that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comment section below about the Nintendo Direct. What do you want to see at the next big Nintendo Direct? I do have a video coming out that is going to be pretty interesting. I'm talking about like what Nintendo's plan is for the big Nintendo Direct, so that should be pretty interesting. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.